Hello and welcome to my Elite Dangerous, the day-to-day grind. Well, we're in the Planetary Python, and we're going to take that down to a few planets and see if we can find some skimmers and stingers to hunt. So that should be fun. And if you would, look down to the bottom right-hand corner of the video and you'll see my subscription button, and please press that. It'll help me with YouTube eventually, because I'm far from the minimum subscribers, and doesn't cost you anything, and you get notified when I produce additional videos. Underneath the video in the description you'll see options to donate, and it's extremely expensive, and you might slightly hear a roar in the background. That's my storage server with over 50 trillion bytes or terabytes, and it's copying over some of the videos to that storage server for backups, and everything is just so expensive, and the audio and the computer systems and hardware and software, and it far exceeds any budget that we could have. So we've created over 590 videos since the beginning of January, so it's all new content, but it takes enormous equipment to protect ourselves, and backing up all those terabytes of videos that we create, because I'm recording all the time. Just in case we see something completely out of the ordinary, like Guardian skimmers. It's a human-made skimmer, and it's a legacy skimmer from a long time ago, but they haven't taken it out of the game, but it's very rare to see it. But when you have over 2,400 hours in this game, you'll see everything. So and underneath the video to the left you see my YouTube channel, GFM_RDG, where you'll find those over 590 additional videos to watch. Well, if you've been watching my day-to-day grind preparing for fleet carriers, you know we've been as high as 10.5 billion. Well, I bought 3 more cutters, and I've been out shopping about the last 24 hours for modules for my fleet of 4 pythons and my fleet of 4 cutters. So I'd like to, before the snapshot on April the 30th, which we were told by Frontier, that's when the snapshot's going to be taken. So if you're going to do any grinding, you have to do it between now and at least the close of business on the 29th. Because sometime during the day on the 30th, they take the snapshot that will be used for beta 2. So that's what we're doing. Well, we will be doing later on today is more grinding, and we're preparing our fleets, our 4 pythons and our 4 for the fleet carrier beta 2, and of course for our live. We have a cargo version of each, a python and a cutter. We have a mining version of each, python and cutter. We have a planetary for each, which this is the python planetary for the python and the cutter. And we have a travel version of the python and the cutter. Now the cutters are not outfitted yet. Transferring all the modules that I went shopping for today and yesterday over to Babbage, and then I've got kind of a setup where it says this is what I'd like for them to be, and I went out and gathered the materials, and we'll be putting those on the ships and making sure that's what we want. But as you can tell, I have spent in all, because I've grinded in between, probably 2 billion on the fleet since I've added the additional 3 Pythons and the additional 3 cutters. So, which I have enough for beta 2. Not worried about at 9.5, but we're going to do a little excursions in between, but mainly we're going to run cargo through the 29th and probably through the 30th, just in case it's late on the 30th that they take the snapshot. So we need to find our destination. Sys left. Go to the system map. We're going to take the first moon, where Sinclair is located, and we're going to try to find some Stinger skimmers and load some more of raw materials. I have spent a ton of raw materials and coated and manufactured materials on these fleets, so I am glad I grinded materials throughout all those videos, because it's really making a difference. So we need to get going. Landing on a moon and checking it out, because that's what we like to do. We was told that in beta 2 the fleet carrier would be 85.5% less in its upkeep.
Docking clamps retracted. Go for departure.
And that activating the services would be 35 to 45% less. That tritium fuel would go twice as far on a ton than it did in beta 1. That the ramp up time for the fleet carrier would be 15 minutes instead of an hour. Cool down time for the fleet carrier would be 5 minutes instead of an hour. Before, you had 4 weeks to catch up on your debt for the fleet carrier, or it would be decommissioned. Well, now it's 10 weeks. I think that's about it. If I think of something else, I'll let you know. You can watch some of my other videos previous to this one, and I talk about it too, so I might have covered something in there that I haven't covered here. If on that leave station we have 4 minutes left, but if it got down under a minute, we're going to exit to the menu and come back, and then we'll be on the pad again, because they will fine you over 400 credits. If that hits 0, they'll also start blowing up your ship if soon after that you do not exit the station. And we were in auto launch.
Frameshift drive charging.
And these microphones that I use, I use a Sony lapel microphone.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Taped to my VR headset, and it actually works pretty good, because the storage server is awfully loud, and when I edit the videos I can barely hear it, so you can hear a slight roar, and so it does work really nicely. So we're going to go over to the CO7A and we're going to check it out, because that's what we do. We don't have any cargo, and so the pirates are not as bad when you don't have cargo, and we don't have cargo contracts, so they're kind of calm. But we're going to have to really grind again to get it back over 10 billion, because that's my goal as of close of day on April the 29th, to be over the 10 billion mark. Would the 9.5 that we have right now, would that be enough? Oh yes, it would, especially because I needed about 7.5 in beta 1, and the costs are now cheaper. So I mean, the fleet carrier is still 5 billion. That didn't change, but the upkeep is lower, and the to activate the services are lower. but at least should have most, if not all, of the modules needed for my 8 support ships. I have 4 Pythons and 4 cutters that are decked out as cargo, mining, planetary, and travel. And I'll keep tweaking them over time. So we might, if we have time, hit all of these moons at some point. We'd like to find some skimmers and stingers to shoot. Check out in my YouTube channel where I have bounty hunting for skimmers and stingers. So just in the search, put bounty hunting and you'll find plenty of them. That's how I've gotten my competent at 18%, is through doing skimmer and stinger hunting, and most, if not all, of those are in. I created a video in my YouTube channel. So we will be looking for a sunny side, which is this side. We'll try not to land near Sinclair. We will be looking for the signal. Stay away from it.
Orbital flight engaged.
Probably going to park it around in here, around in there where we're headed. So I tend to talk louder because this backup server is in my ear. I mean, it's just so loud. And so I'm thinking I need to yell for you to hear me, but the mics work really good. So in editing, I'm always going, you really don't need to yell. I want to be near those canyons. So if we decide to go there, we can. Got into a glide. We have pretty good viewership for these planetary exploration videos. And when I get the cutter all decked out for planetary exploration, we'll use that too. Okay. We'll do our look around, which we always do. So I have to tell myself that I can just talk normal and the microphones pick it up really well, and they cancel out a lot of the noise from the drive server. Okay. Probably in that area. We'll boost to get closer to the canyons. We are looking for company. CEOS is a high security, but because we run stack missions, we get interdicted up to 7 times. So there are pirates in the vicinity. Sys landing.
Landing gear deployed.
Like there might be a smoother spot over here that we'll be going to. Sys alternate. Feather down. That looks like a good spot to go into the canyon if we want to. Yeah, it says it wants us to be aligned, kind of like that. Sys down. And as you'll see, the SRV is in cobalt now too. And I know I've been told I'm weird. And I know everybody says I'm weird. Because my ships are in cobalt, all, well, 8 of them. The Sidewinder's not, but my 4 Pythons and my 4 cutters. Okay, that's probably better. I zoomed out on the sensor to make sure if we see company. The lights are on. Sys dark. Sys dark. Okay. Yeah, see how cobalt? It looks good in the on this planet where it looks kind of icy. Sys ship.
Ship dismissed.
Goes into orbit and waits for us to call it. Well, that's pretty cool.
Cargo scoop deployed.
So first we're going to do a scan around to see what's here and see if there's an upper level blip. We'll keep looking for that. The lower level is raw materials, which we definitely need raw materials because we've used up quite a bit in modifying our new 6 more ships that we've added to the fleet. So we've got the 4 Pythons and the 4 cutters, and eventually I'll have them all perfect. Eventually we'll take the fleet carrier to each of the engineers and we'll even get the experimental done for each module on each ship. Okay, so let's go over toward the cavern. Because a lot of times the hunting is better when we get closer to the caverns or the cliffs and mountains and woo. See, my lower sensor shows me it's not a free fall. I didn't look at it as well as I should have though. Could have gotten myself in trouble. But if I look at it, I can tell there's no sharp cliffs anywhere close to us. we do have a raw material coming up. And then we'll do a scan around again to see if we can find an upper level. And the gravity's pretty light, or they would come down really fast. We have 44 nickels so far out of a capacity of 300 that we could have. Watch my synthesis videos, because you can use this not only for the engineer, but for also refueling your SRV, repairing both your SRV and your ship, and restocking your SRV and your ship in the field. Now, of course, the fleet carrier is going to give us everything we need. It'll have refueling, repair. It will have, we can have extra things on there. We have it advanced repair. We have remote workshop for the engineers. So we've got, I've asked Frontier if they would add the material traders to the fleet carrier. I think that would be really awesome. Sys left. Now there's no, your materials will show up on that contact, especially if we ignored it, because being out like doing asteroid mining, sometimes we ignore things. I wouldn't ignore materials, but you know, sometimes cheaper cargo I'll ignore. Yeah, we're not seeing upper blips at the moment. Get back toward the cliffs again. It is very icy. We slide around quite a bit. While I was out, I did go by the raw material trader, and I do have plenty of videos on raw material trading, so check those out. But I kind of topped them off where they're not totally full, so we won't run out of space real fast, but where we can actually use them. Yeah, it is sliding around. They might have fixed it to where it doesn't just spin you into the opposite direction every time, because it's acting better. I don't mind sliding a little bit because it is ice, but it would always just turn you in the opposite direction if you just barely slide. And the last 10 or 15 times that I've been on planets, I don't notice it doing that. Not doing the 180, it's doing more of a realistic slide. So I'm good with that. But be sure to press that subscribe button. That and donations is what I need the most of. You can really help me out. And as my wife says, I need a lot of help. So take her advice and give me lots of help. And I know, and I really appreciate people wanting to play in the game with me, and it's not really my style to play multiplayer. Because I have to just find time to do these videos whenever I can, which are very difficult a lot of times. I do like the cobalt on the SRV though. And I know everybody thinks I'm weird. But I like it on everything, because out in space it looks really good. It sparkles and shines. And now in the hangar, it does, that galvanized cobalt doesn't look all that great, but boy, out here on the planet, oh, it's awesome. Like you saw when we dismissed the ship. Yeah, sometimes when I say that, which the voice attack shouldn't pick up on it because it needs that prefix that I use, but sometimes it will call the ship down, and it's like, I didn't say the prefix. It's always concerning. And lately I've had to, get kind of rough with the voice attack, almost shout the command, because sometimes it just can't hear for some reason. Other times it's fine. Part of this, we're just seeing what's going on, but when we do see upper blips, a lot of times it's around mountains or caverns or cliffs or those kinds of things. So we give it every opportunity. And yes, when I first got the VR about 10 months ago, I got motion sickness so badly, and I could only play for about 15 minutes at a time, and I'd have to walk away from it until the motion sickness went away. But that does go away too if you just play a little bit and walk away and come back a little bit more, a little bit later, and come back and then walk away again. It seems to go away. I don't get motion sickness anymore, no matter how rough the terrain is. We're used to it, didn't take much at all. Now, it's not that I don't feel it, it just doesn't get to the sickening feeling. You feel the pressure of the movement. Your eyes and your brain is really confused by VR, because it expects you to lose your stomach and everything else going over these hills, and you just, it's virtual. You don't really do it, but at times you can actually feel as if you're rising and falling. It really confuses your system. But part of these planetary explorations is the exploration. Just checking everything out. Yes, we do collect materials. We need as many materials as possible, and I need to take you out to Dav's Hope and Jameson crash site so we can pick up manufactured and encoded materials. So I do need to do that. But we need to get ourselves back over 10 billion. But I did want to run down here and just see if we can find some skimmers or stingers to shoot at. Haven't gotten to shoot at anything lately, and I don't take on ships. It's just it's much higher risk than I really want to deal with. See, I keep going toward these caverns or cliffs over here. But we're not getting signals that I wish we were getting. But because I feel really good about 10 billion mark, we probably will do more. Like in the live account while we're doing beta 2, I usually go back and forth. my guess, we're about 2.5 to 3 weeks away from beta 2, because normally it's about 2 weeks after the snapshot, and they said that the snapshot will be April the 30th, so it's probably 2 weeks after that. But that's not set in stone. I mean, they could do it a week later or days later. I don't know. Normally it's 2 weeks. For beta 1, it was like 2 weeks prior to the to beta 1. Well, we've done quite a bit of roaming. We're not finding what I'd like to find. So we really need to, oh, there's one. Do some raw materials and call it a video until we go to the next moon. Yeah, it's really slippery. Let's see here. Yeah, we're getting to that number for time. But you saw it bounced off of the wheel area or a bar, and then I selected it and it picked it up. The scoop is all around your SRV, so just get near the material and it'll pick it up. Sys, ship.
Ship recalled.
I'll recall the ship, go back to Babbage, get our cargo Python, and start running missions again, because I spent quite a bit. I'm thinking close to 2 billion in all on modules for the fleet. Now there's nothing close. See, that cobalt looks pretty good on the planet. Again, I appreciate you coming along. Be sure to press that subscribe button that's in the lower right hand corner of the video, underneath the video in the description. Be sure to consider donating, and I give several ways to donate. Sys down. And underneath the video to the left, you'll see my YouTube channel page, GFilm_RDG. We're going to get back to Babbage, and that's going to be the end of this video. And be sure to watch my videos, because I do go over what I know about fleet carriers, space legs, planetary, personal bases. Sys alternate. Sys landing.
Landing gear retracted.
We have to wait for the mass lock to go off.
Frameshift drive charging.
And at least that's an escape vector that's not an interdiction.
3, 2, 1. Engage.
Sys left. There's Babbage up there. And we could be interdicted. We can always be interdicted, especially around Ceos and Sothis, because it's like the pirate convention when I'm here. But we have to run some missions. So I'll start another video as soon as we get back to Babbage on the day-to-day grind, preparing for fleet carriers, space legs, planetary personal bases, and landing on planets with atmospheres. Now the last part, starting with space legs, that's all from a leak that we heard back last year around November, and then in January, and also here in April. The leaker continues to say this stuff is coming around December, and it will be a DLC, so it costs real money, not just credits. And then Frontier did mention a couple of months ago that the update in December of this year will be the largest update that Elite Dangerous has ever had in its history. So it makes what the leaker is saying a little more believable, and this leaker information that they've had released before, most of the time it's right on. So at the moment, I have to believe it's true, and as we hear more things from Frontier, we'll weigh that into the whole mixture, and I'll bring it to you. So please subscribe so you get notified when I produce more of these videos. Now, because I don't have cargo contracts, and I don't have cargo on board, it's a little calmer, but you still get that "oh, I finally found you" message. Sysview. But we did pick up some raw materials, and that was good. We didn't see any skimmer stinger signals. And we did travel around a little bit and did some exploration, because that's what we like to do. Like I said, I'm going to starting a video at Babbage to collect missions, because we have 0 mission contracts right now. So, collecting some and then delivering some. But be sure to watch more of my videos and come along with me again. I really appreciate you coming along this time.
DeLacy, Romeo, Golf, India.
Sis left.
Federal Flight Control would like to welcome you to this facility. Okay, Commander, land on pad 38. Assisted docking initiated.
Command Flight Control, this is Corsair 55 Delta requesting takeoff.
Commence pre-flight checklist, Commander. Scheduling departure now.
we have to pick up the cargo Python to do our cargo missions.
Landing gear deployed.
Again, I really appreciate you coming along. Hopefully you'll press that subscribe button if you haven't already pressed it, and consider donating. And watch more of my videos at GFM_RDG. So until next time, thank you for watching.
Docking